y'all, it's Betsy, and today I figured we would do a chit chat. Get ready with me. I haven't done one of these in quite a while and kind of give you a little bit of a life update, and then I also want to play with mainly old makeup stuff that in my collection hasn't gotten enough love because I do a lot of videos over all the new stuff, which is great because I love getting new makeup, but sometimes it's nice to kind of reach back into your collection and pull out things that are oldies but goodies, or things that maybe you haven't given enough love to, at least if you're like me, because I mean, my goodness, I have an extreme amount of makeup, so that's what we're gonna do today. Just fun, easy, but I'm probably not going to talk about the makeup I'm using too much. If you ask, like in the comments after the video's done, if there's a specific product that you want to know, I will gladly tell you, but like, I'm not big on doing like a big old description box of telling you all the products that I use, because, you know, a lot of times, especially when I'm watching a chit chat get ready with me, that's not the thing I'm concerned with. Like, I want to know how life is treating you. So, I haven't played with this in forever. This is the Artist Couture, and I said I wasn't gonna do it, but I am going ahead and doing it. This is the Artist Couture Supreme Nudes. But yeah, so for us down here in Southeast Texas, I don't know if you know, Texas took away the mask mandate about a month ago, I think. So unless your business requires it, you don't have to wear a mask. And like, my business is definitely still requiring it, because even though we've been able to get some of us vaccinated, we haven't been able to get all of us vaccinated, and no one at this point is what I would consider fully vaccinated. And what I mean by that, we've gotten, like, I'm on my second dose. I had it a week ago, Monday. So Monday will be when I'm considered fully vaccinated. But like with Cameron, since he's 14, he won't be able to be fully vaccinated until the government approves whatever company to be able to use the vaccines in kids and teenagers. So we're just not there yet. And Cameron still, to this day, like, we just had to bring him to the doctor for an ear infection, which for a kid that's 14 years old, you know, that's not the most normal ailment for a 14-year-old to have. He's never had an amazingly good immune system. So, you know, we're going to take every precaution that we need to until we can get, you know, fully protected. And I think that should be understandable. Everybody has their right to their own opinions and their own views over it, but this is what our plan is for our family. So that's what we're working on at this point, is, you know, trying to get everybody vaccinated, dealing with people wanting to be buttholes when they come into the store, and not wanting to wear masks, and then calling names and all that kind of stuff, which just irks my nerves to no end. Because here's the thing about it, is if you have differences of opinion, that's okay. But, you know, if my store says require masks, then we should, you know, either put on a mask or just leave. You don't have to spend your money here. If you don't like my policies, that's fine. But why do people feel like they need to just be complete nutter butts about it? I don't understand it in the least little bit. And again, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and everybody's entitled to do what's best for them. But like, for my business, I am not the only vinyl store in the area. I am not the only place that does signs or screen printing. There's plenty of others. So, you know, it's not like I'm forcing you to go against it. but you are berating me and my family by refusing. You see what I'm saying? Especially if you're like, you're a bunch of sissies, because we've heard that one. For wanting, you know, people to wear masks in the store. And worse things, trust me. So much worse things. So it's like, okay, I don't know. Maybe someone in the comments can explain to me what good that does for anybody to be mean. I mean, it really doesn't. I'm not forcing my belief on anybody. I am allowed to choose what happens in my store. And that should be okay, you know? Because we don't know everything about the Rona yet. There's still a lot to be discovered, and it's like every time I turn around, there's new information. So, you know, we just want to make sure we're protected. Why expose ourselves if we don't need to? I'm going to use one of the shades from Glam Shop. This is the Mirage shade. It's like a blue gold kind of shifty shade. It's from their Marble line. It's so pretty. But yeah, I mean, there's just no reason to be mean about it, or at least in my opinion. I mean, and there are, you know, I don't know. It bugs me because people have been extremely rude and extremely rude to like Cuttin, because Cuttin does most of the front work now. And I have heard, and we've got cameras, so we've recorded quite a bit of stuff. I haven't posted anything, but you know, I've been tempted on occasion that he's rude. Because, okay, so y'all know, Cuttin, my middle one, he has Asperger's, which is a type of autism. I've talked about it before, but he functions really well. I mean, he's a great kid. He's a big help. Part of the reason why he spends most of the time up front is because he's got the best immune system out of all of us. So that's what we've decided to do to keep the rest of us safe. And, you know, but because Cuttin has Asperger's and he's got more of like a robotic monotone voice. So he says things the correct way, like, "I'm sorry, sir," or "I'm sorry, ma'am. You cannot be in here without a mask." He's gotten called names and rude and all this other kind of stuff. Again, because people don't even want to understand anybody different than them. You know what I mean? That's, I think, the part that's, you know, bothers me a lot. And it's like I tell my husband, you know, if we're not going to stand up for Cuttin, nobody's going to stand up for him. You know what I mean? Like, we are his first line of defense. And I'm not going to ask him to change for anybody. I mean, I don't care who it is. I think that he is phenomenal just the way he is. That looks really pretty. But, you know, again, in that same hand, it makes it very difficult because other people aren't trying to be understanding of it at all. It's like the world is like, if you won't do, or at least this is what it feels like here for us, if you won't do what I want, then you're stepping all over my toes or my rights. But you're not looking at it from the other angle of when you're expecting us to do just everything for you, you're stepping on our toes and our rights. Does that make sense? I'm hoping I'm wording that the right way. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's been known to go both ways. So, with that being said, you know, as I said, there's stuff with it that's hard because I don't want to lose the business because, one, it's in the middle of all this. Things have been difficult. I don't know of anybody who has a small business for the most part that hasn't been affected by the pandemic. But then again, it's like, what are you willing to do? What are you willing to say, no, that's enough to as well? You know what I mean? There's so much to it. So those are things we've been fighting with. But other than that, like, I feel like there is some looking up to what's going on. You know, how many people have been able to get vaccinated to protect them and their family. You know, I think those numbers are great. And so I think that that's important to also look at. You know, I'm also not going to sit here and dwell on all the negative. Yes, people make me mad, let's face it. Who doesn't get perturbed at, you know, people who won't even take anything else into account? But, you know, I don't know. But it's like kind of with the stuff with Caden. You know, he says the things the correct way, but people automatically, because of the tone of his voice, which there's nothing we can do to change it, think that he's being rude. You know? And the way that I look at it is, I want to change the world for Caden, not change Caden for the world. Because I've talked about it at great lengths, how good he actually is. He's just like the best. He's not a kid anymore, but I will say kid because he's my baby. But he's just like the best to deal with. You know what I mean? Like, he's amazing. And I want other people to see it too. But if you can't get past what he sounds like, then how will you ever know? Or at least that's in my opinion. This is the Benefit Cakeless Concealer. Or, yeah, is that what? Yeah, Cakeless Concealer. I am trying to finish this up. But this is not a favorite concealer of mine. This is supposed to be like non-creasing and all that kind of stuff. But under my eyes, under my, you know, 37-year-old eyes, almost 38, it just does, it creases. It creases bad. And I don't apply a whole lot of it because I'm like, well, the less I apply, the better. Or at least that's what I think. It's just, I mean, the creases are there. They're not going away. I think the only way that I could get rid of those creases is if I decided to get filler put under my eyes. And I am not against filler. I'm not against Botox. I get Botox on a regular basis. I have gotten lip filler once in my life. And I got it done in September of 2019. And you can still see the results of it. So I don't think it's something that you need to do all the time. But again, that's all personal opinion. But putting a needle underneath my eyes like that scares me. Partially because it's like, what if they mess it up and I go blind? Because I've said this before, I suffer from blindness in my right eye. I am legally blind in my right eye. I have no depth perception. I cannot see things in 3D. That's why, like whenever we did on Magpies, the liner challenge, Nadia did mine. Because that is just not something I can do. It just doesn't work out well for me. And again, that's okay, because everybody's got different strengths and different weaknesses. That's the beauty of the world, is if everybody wants, you know, it's the differences in people that make things wonderful, not the sameness. And I think sometimes that gets forgotten, or people expect, you know, everybody to be the same. I don't know. This is the Chantecaille Blur Powder. This is from last year. They do have a new one coming out, or it is out. And they have it now in 2 shades. This powder is absolutely amazing. Typically it takes me forever to go through a pressed powder, and I've had this I think since November, and this is the most used powder product in my collection. Like, you can see how deep that divot is in it. It's just a great powder. Like, I just love how it looks on the skin. But, I mean, as I said, like, if you're so focused on trying to make everybody the same, then you lose the beauty in the differences between people. At least in my thought. I don't know how most people feel about it, but, you know, it's like, it's just hard. It's hard being a parent. It's hard being a business owner. You cannot please everybody. I know someone probably watching this needs to hear that. And you will never be able to please everybody. But if you live your life, you know, the best way you know how, you know, try to educate yourself on issues. Don't just believe one side or the other. Go and educate yourself. Then, you know, I think that you're doing, you know, living your life purposefully. You know, it's one of the things I try to teach my kids. I'm like, don't just repeat what you hear on the internet or whatever. Understand the world around you, and then you can speak on it. You know what I'm saying? It's not that everybody's going to agree, but you can't go into any situation and look at things objectively if you're only looking at it from one side. That's something. But, you know, education is key. Or at least I think it's key. So, because I don't want to raise my kids to be, you know, gullible and just believe anything anybody tells them, because, you know, you got a lot of people in this world who are anarchists that just want to see the world burn, and will, you know, doesn't matter which side of the coin you're looking at, just want to see how bad they can make things. You know what I mean? So, from that perspective, it's like, okay, let's do what we can to make life better, and not just agree that, oh, everything's bad, so we might as well wait for the next generation to fix it, or, you know what I mean? Because that happens quite a bit as well. You know, I want things to be around for a while. I want, you know, to have grandbabies, if that's what my kids decide. I want to have, you know, all that. But yeah, I don't know. I've gotten really philosophical lately. Like, not all the time and stuff, but because of everything that I'm seeing and hearing, like in the media and just in the world in general. You know, yes, things are not fun, and it's not fun for a lot of people right now. I get that. But, you know, if we let fear and hate rule our lives, then, you know, it will never truly get better. So, or at least that's what I think. And sometimes you gotta stop and put yourself in other people's shoes to get perspectives of the world around you. Because that's part of it. Just because you see the world one way doesn't mean that's how Robert down the road sees it. or George or, you know, or anybody for that matter. But if we can understand more and put ourselves in people's shoes, then maybe we can make positive changes and hopefully make this world a little bit better when we leave it than how we came into it. So, I think that those are important lessons to teach the next generation. And even if you don't have kids, don't want kids, can't have kids, you can still have an impact on the future world. You know what I'm saying? I don't think kindness and compassion, which is one thing my friend Steven says all the time, he tries to lead his life with kindness and compassion, is ever a bad thing. I don't think anyone will be like, no, you're wrong because you want to be nice. You know, I don't think that anybody would think that that's a bad thing. Because, you know, in the general grand scheme of things, you know, whenever you pass away, you don't ever hear anybody being like, oh, I wish I worked more. No, they wish that they spent more time with their friends, their family, that type of thing. So those are the things that really matter. You know, yes, having stuff is nice, but is having stuff the end all be all? I don't think so. You know, it's like, eventually, whenever you pass away, you can't bring the stuff with you. But I mean, like, yes, I own a lot of things, but it's like I was telling my mother-in-law, I don't have a lot of emotional attachment to objects. I've said this before, I've had a rough childhood growing up. So I don't have like objects. Goodness, I hardly even have pictures of me when I was little. The only reason I have any baby pictures, and I have 3, and then I don't have any more till I was like 17, was because of my biological sister on my dad's side had a few from before I got adopted. Other than that, there's none. So like for me to hold emotional attachment to objects is just like, you know, I know things can disappear in an instant. You know, we moved a lot. So even if I had things, like when I was younger, I had emotional attachment to objects. A lot of times things got broken, lost, stolen, you know, the whole 9 yards of growing up dysfunctional. So I just don't hold those things in value. Like, it's like I tell my husband, like, if we had a hurricane come through tomorrow and I lost everything, I would be upset because of the monetary value, not because it's not replaceable, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, or at least that's how I think I would be. That's how I feel at this moment. So I think that's kind of how I would be, but who knows, you know? I mean, but pictures we have backed up on thumb drives. Those are the things that matter like the most to me, are like the pictures. But even then, pictures and objects can help bring back memories, but it's not like that's the end all be all for memories, because you could turn around tomorrow, have a house fire and lose everything. But you still have the things that matter, which are the people around you. And my group of people around me is small. I don't let a lot of people into my circle because I have lots of trust issues. But the people that are in my circle, I care about greatly. So they matter. And that's what's important to me. Everything else can go away and I will still be happy, I think, as long as I have good people around me, you know. My husband and I have been married now at this point for 20 years. Well, we've been together 20 plus years. We will be married 20 years in September of 2022, September the 27th. And that is a relationship that matters to me. You know, that's the kind of thing that I want to nurture. You know, we've been able to work through many difficulties, but at the end of the day, so many things just aren't important at the end. But I mean, I'm also honest, like if my husband didn't fulfill the needs that I need from him, and hopefully if I didn't fulfill the needs that he needs from me, we would both take that into account and not stay in a relationship just to stay in a relationship. Like, I don't want to be miserable just to stay married, if that makes sense. But I mean, hopefully people can tell, but I mean, goodness, I love Jeremy as much now, probably more than when we first got together. We were babies and we've grown up together, and he's my world, you know, my animals, that type of thing. So, but again, you know, everybody has the right to value what they want to value and what they want to put ahead of anything else. I won't judge someone for, you know, loving money or anything like that, because I don't know your struggle. Even if you tell me your struggle, I don't know your story inside and out. That makes sense. Like, I know what you've said, but I don't know what that did to you, how that made you feel. So that's how I'm looking at things lately. I'm still doing that mascara test. So I'm getting tired of just wearing the same 2 mascaras every single day. But I am going to finish it because I honestly want to know if these make a difference. And I will explain it in that video. But that's kind of where I'm at on stuff, you know, like, I don't know. I think there's like this comfort that comes whenever you're getting older. Like, I'm approaching 40 now, and it's like, at this point in my life, I know who I am. And I'm okay with that. And I wouldn't change it for the world. You know? I don't have to be rich. Just comfortable. You know? And that's enough. You know? That's how I feel about it right now. For me, life in general, that's enough. And, you know, I want things to go back to normal, but I don't want to rush the process. So that's how I'm seeing things. But let me know your thoughts down below, how you're feeling with life in general, because I know that life is hard right now. But I guess that's it. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button right down below. And if you hit the notification bell icon next to it, that will notify you when I post new videos, which is typically Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But I guess that's it. So we'll see y'all later. Bye.